show. I'm Mo.
Oh, Meares.
Week 14 is here. You got a couple things you want to announce?
I do. So the podcast is now on iTunes. So if you have an iPhone, you can go right on your little phone. There's an app for podcasts. You just search for Mo and Meares. You'll get, if you subscribe to us, you'll get a new one every week. It'll automatically come to your phone.
Is the Galaxy an iPhone?
It's not, but you can get the app if you wanted to.
I don't know about apps. It's confusing.
It is confusing. We got, how many games are we doing?
We're going to do 2, and then we're going to kick you the podcast on iTunes.
We are.
On your iPhone, not your Galaxy.
Or you can go to molandmeares.com to watch the podcast. Listen to the podcast if you don't have an iPhone.
First game we're going to do is going to be the Eagles hosting Seattle.
Yes.
Eagles coming off a huge win on Thanksgiving Day.
It was a very good Thanksgiving.
Huge win. If they hadn't won that game, they would be like Dallas right now in a world of trouble.
I love the fact that everybody picked Dallas, by the way. Everybody picked Dallas. I was watching all the pre-games. Yeah. Everybody picked Dallas. We picked Dallas to win. Mm-hmm. And they get killed, and now it's like Dallas is done. Dallas still isn't done.
Let me tell you something. If the Eagles had lost, they might have been done.
I agree.
That was a pivotal game. We got to take the money out in case we curse. Dallas is done now because December's here.
Correct.
Perennially bad in December.
Tony Romo has a very bad December.
But that was a big swing game right there.
So normally what I would do in this game, Seattle traveling to Philadelphia, is do the West Coast to East Coast deal. But two things are going against me in that. First, that theory hasn't worked recently. Both San Diego won and San Francisco won traveling west to east playing at 1 o'clock.
2 examples of 100, but go ahead. Second
reason, this is actually a 4:25 game, so technically it's 1 o'clock on the West Coast. So it's really not that big of a difference for them. Seattle's been playing really good. They've only given up 6 points combined in the last 2 weeks. So they've been holding their opponents down.
They did the same score back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, they did.
19-13. 19-3.
19-3, yeah. However, they haven't been playing offenses that are as good as the Eagles. I honestly think the Eagles' offense is good when they can run the ball. That's the key. LaShawn McCoy hits the hole, doesn't stutter step behind the line, but actually hits the hole. They run the ball well. If they can do that against Seattle, which I think they can, I think it'll be enough to win this game. I would have never thought last week that I would say this, but I am going to take Philadelphia to win and cover the 1.5 points.
Yeah, I didn't mention it was a 1.5 point spread.
Right, it's 1.5.
Eagles favored by 1.5. I'm going to pick the Eagles too. I don't like the fact that both of us are picking the Eagles. I
don't either.
I subscribe to the idea that traveling across the country does affect the play. I don't care if it's 4:25 or not. I'm glad that this is Seattle for the Eagles because if it was anybody else, I would see a letdown.
Correct.
Seattle is not impressive on offense. They just are not impressive on offense.
No, they're not really doing anything.
And the 2 teams they shut down the last 2 weeks, I'm not going to bloviate about anything they've done as far as that goes because I'm not impressed with what they've done there either.
Okay.
Who was it that they shut down? They shut
San Francisco
in Arizona.
And Arizona, right? Not San Francisco. It was definitely Arizona. I don't know who they played last week.
It was San Francisco.
It was San Francisco. Yeah.
Did they play Arizona this past week?
No, I don't think they did. I don't remember.
Whatever it was, I wasn't impressed with you. I like Philadelphia to win this game. If they win this game, they're in really good shape, regardless of what happens with Dallas for the playoffs.
Correct.
Because this is a big game to stay. This will put them 2 ahead of Seattle with a tiebreaker.
Yes.
And that'll be good for the playoffs. I have them winning this game, so odds are that's probably not going to happen. But second game we're going to do: New England traveling across the country to San Diego. 8-4 San Diego, a little bit of a surprise.
I think it's a big surprise. They won 3 in a row.
We'll talk more about New England and Green Bay, I guess maybe on the podcast. New England's favored on the road across the country by 3.5 after losing last week to Green Bay in Green Bay.
I will say that the loss, I'm not going to put the loss 100% on the fact that they got beat by a better team. I'm not saying that New England's a bad team, but Aaron Rodgers was absolutely perfect in that game.
In the first half?
Yes, he threw the ball.
In the first half only.
Well, that's when they took the lead, though, right?
It's in the first half only, though.
But that's when
people missed that. People missed that. The second half was 7-3.
I blacked out, so I didn't get to see it.
7-3 in the second half. New England beat. Green Bay put up 3 points in the second half, and Aaron Rodgers threw for about 40 yards.
Okay, gotcha. San Diego has quietly won 3 games in a row, right? All on the road, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know.
They've won 3. They've definitely won 3 in a row. So they're playing better, but they're not beating teams convincingly. I mean, really shouldn't have won against Baltimore. They really shouldn't have won against St. Louis the week before. No, it wasn't on the road because they played St. Louis at home and they barely beat them. New England's the better team in this game. I don't see New England losing back-to-back games, especially against San Diego and Phillip Rivers. I feel like Phillip Rivers has like a beef with Tom Brady. I don't know if this is real. I could be making this up. But I feel like Phillip Rivers is like jealous and hates Tom Brady. Aren't they around the same age?
What are you in a fantasy fucking world? No, they're not nearly the same age. And what fantasy world are you living in right now? What the fuck are you talking about?
I think Phillip Rivers is a pussy, and I think he's.
Has he ever come out and said anything about Tom Brady?
No.
You're just making comments on faces.
I'm making shit up.
I know.
But that's
Be
why I have
responsible.
New England beating them by more than 3.5.
Because you have a fictional hatred of.
Yes.
It's awful. That's the worst analysis you've ever done in the history of the show. I agree with you. New England isn't going to lose back-to-back weeks. I hope they do, because that would be awesome. But no, even though they're traveling across the country, 3.5 points. You know, San Diego riding a high, three in a row. They don't win 4 in a row, so give me New England in this one too. And I just brought up weather.com, so let's see what it's going to be like in San Diego. Maybe. Oh wait, no, sunny in San Diego. That's what it is. Okay, yeah, I'll go with that. So that's our intro show to the podcast for Week 14.
Yep, we did the 2 top games. We'd like you to join for the podcast. People are worried that we're just going to stop making videos. That's not the case. I mean,
I lost 15 pounds in the last week. I'm going to keep going,
Yeah.
and I'd like to see myself from start to finish.
Well,
Our weight loss contest is as one-sided as our fucking picks.
we're gonna make. We're gonna keep making videos, but we are just making them shorter. I mean, it's win-win for
I don't know
everyone.
how much shorter, because that was really long-winded on your about how Phillip Rivers wants to butt fuck Tom Brady's wife
does.
or something. I don't
He
know
does.
what that was.
Make sure you join us the podcast, Meares.com, or search for us on iTunes. Subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff, and we'll talk to you next week.